Hey, welcome back to Rehoboth Sunday School Rewind. Yep, we're backing it up again. We're here today on Sunday, January the 30th, and we're so excited to be here with Deacon Lyons. I'm just ecstatic. Today's lesson was so amazing as we talked through the lesson. How you doing, Deacon Lyons?
I am doing real good, and I think I feel as good as you do.
That's what I'm talking about. So, Deke, what was today's lesson about?
Today is God, the source of justice. And our main topic is countercultural compassion from Deuteronomy, the 24th chapter, the 10th through the 21st verse.
Awesome, Dig. Awesome. Today's lesson was so engaging. I really enjoyed the conversation. So when you were preparing for today's lesson and you thought about as you was putting things together, what were you expecting for people to get out of today's lesson?
I was hoping that we would get a comparison to where we were when we were younger, where we are today, and our expectations for the future.
That sounds amazing. So tell me a little bit about Deuteronomy, the scripture we were studying today.
That was basically reminding us that we should be aware of other people's condition. And just because a person is looked the part, that don't mean that they are actually well-being, should I say. That you can look like you're doing real good, but deep down in your heart and in your situation that you're living in, you're not doing well at all. And you need all the help that you can get from your friends, from your church.
Yeah, because I loved how you talked about how Moses was talking to Israel. And this was the second time Moses was having this conversation with Israel because they were coming out of wandering in the desert for so long, and they're about to enter in the promised land. And so we learned, that Deuteronomy is the second reading of the law. So this is the second time Moses has to tell them the law. And he pretty much in today's lesson was trying to tell them how they were to treat one another, how they were to treat those that didn't have as much and things like that. So Dig, as you were preparing for the lesson, what were some of the things that you thought were amazing today as we discussed our lesson?
When we came out of slavery, we wound up with the haves and the have-nots, and that's a segment of society that were able to be prosperous, and then that segment of society who wasn't so prosperous. And unfortunately, we as a people look down our nose at those who hadn't quite made it, because we had been led to believe that they are lazy, shiftless, and no good. And we treated them differently.
Wow. So what does the lesson tell us about that?
The lesson tells us that we should be more compassionate, that we should be more forgiving, that we should be more benevolent, that we should have more of a helping hand. And at one time we were, because I remember the times when we would kill hogs or slaughter a cow, that we would invite the neighborhood over and we would do that together. And everybody got a piece of meat. But however, today we are locked up behind our bars and behind security gates and etc. Some of us don't even know the name of our neighbor, but we are supposed to be helping that person, loving that person.
Yeah, I love when we read the portion of Deuteronomy in chapter 24, where it says that when you go out to glean your field, if a sheaf is left, which in other words is a stem is left, a bark is left, don't you go back and get that bark. Leave that bark there for the poor. And if you're pressing olive and there's some olives left over, don't go back and get the extra. Leave them there. And I think it also said if you had your vineyard where you had the grapes on the vine, you were not to go back and try to get everything. So Moses was trying to tell Israel, look out for those that don't have. And I think what you're telling us today is even today, in our current society, we need to look out for those that may not have. Dick, we had a long conversation about the borrower. You want to share with us about those borrowers out there as we are lenders?
Yes, when we lend something to our neighbor or whomever, that we want to get some security that they're going to pay us back. And the lesson tells us is that we shouldn't go into their house and choose what we want them to give us for security. And it also goes on to say that if whatever they give you for security, that we should be return that before the sun goes down, because they might need that for comfort, for warmth, that day, that night.
Yeah, Deke, you shared that there was somebody that used to teach here, and how they told us about when we actually lend or borrow from somebody. You want to share that with our Rewind audience?
Yeah, that's Sister Christmas, who is in Atlanta now, who used to be a very active teacher. And her philosophy, when it comes down to lending, is that we should not lend and expect to get it back. And her other added to that is that we should not lend to someone if we can't afford not to get it back.
All right, Deke. All right, that's awesome. Deke, anything else you want to share with our Rewind audience?
I shared with them, especially the title, God, the source of justice, is that if we would ask the average African-American person today who freed the slaves, the majority of the people would say Abraham Lincoln. And we brought out the fact that Abraham Lincoln did not free the slaves. Abraham Lincoln didn't have no slaves to free. We belong to God, and God was the one that freed us through his mercy, his grace, and his justice. And we wound up saying that we should not be looking down our noses at anyone, because it's only through the grace and the mercies of God that we are not in the same position.
Awesome, Deke. Thank you so much for sharing in today's Rewind. Thank you for joining us in the Rewind. We hope you have enjoyed it. Don't forget, share it with your neighbors, share it with your friends, share it with some other Rehoboth members. And remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook and Twitter. We're so excited about being here. Thank you, Deke, so much for sharing in the Rewind. We look for you next week as we once again study our Sunday school lesson. Thank you so much and have a great day.
Thank you very much. May God continue to shine on you and to put you in a position so that you can motivate and share us.